Hello travelers and adventurers, I'm WitchyTQ and welcome back to my channel. Now, regardless of if you're new to Palia or over 100 hours in, I'm here to help you make the most of the game. I'll start by saying this video is more geared towards new players, but you never know, you might learn something new. The number one question I get asked is, what's your advice for a new player? And honestly, just play the way you want is always my answer. But that's not really useful if you're the type of person who needs exact direction. So let's start with what to save and what to sell. The easiest way to track down what items to keep, at least one of, is by their background color. Any item with teal or purple are very rare and hard to find. I'd recommend you keep those for any mainline quests or in case your favorite villager asks for one. There are also red backgrounds given to limited items or sometimes items gifted to you by an NPC. Gray backgrounds are for really basic items or junk, but some junk can be useful, so keep a couple of those on hand as well. I'll also mention you should keep all tree seeds you find, like acorns and pine cones, when you start. Just trust me on that one. The other thing I'll mention for new players is not to rush through the side quests. It's a very slow-paced game if you let it be that, but definitely focus on the main quest when you start. This is how you're going to access tool upgrades and your paraglider. Also, make sure you try and talk to the NPCs whenever you can. You don't need to give them gifts to level up their friendship, but it does help speed it up. NPCs reset every IRL day at 9 p.m. Pacific when it comes to receiving gifts, and you can talk to them once every in-game day to gain friendship points. In regards to gifting and NPCs, their weekly wants for their gifts will reset in real time on Sundays at 9 p.m. Pacific, which is midnight EST. This is also when your weeklies will reset, but weeklies won't be something you need to worry about until you reach level 10 in any given skill, which can be found in your achievements menu. Because you might be like me and have a short attention span, meaning you'll watch this video in bursts, I'm going to go over the map now and then you can thank me later. Obviously the map is pretty self-explanatory, but if you're a new player, you're going to at some point say, where the hell is Hadari? And the answer is in Bahari Bay. There are two maps, aka locations, in Palia at the moment. So if you don't see a character on the map, it's because they're in Bahari at the moment, or always, like Tamala. The other important map feature is the ability to set a waypoint. You can middle mouse click anywhere on the map to make a marker on the top compass, as well as hold down Control to make a beam of light appear while walking for extra guidance. You can waypoint villagers and your party members too, so no matter where they walk off to on the map, you'll be able to follow them. Party members' markers appear in green on the map and yours will always appear in white. I'll go more into multiplayer functions in a later video. Another thing I think is missed sometimes in early game is that you don't have to use your sell bin on your plot. If you want the gold right away, Zeki's general store will buy any item that can be sold in the bin at home. Focus is the next thing I want to talk about. Focus is how you gain a boost to your experience, and the only way to gain focus is by eating. Certain foods give more focus than others, and you'll know when an item can be consumed by a pinkish arrow that points upwards over the item in your inventory. You can also hover over an item to see how much focus you'll receive. While you still gain experience, even if your focus bar is empty, there isn't really a reason to ever not be boosting it up. Within focus, it's important to talk about Renown. Renown is one of the game's currency, so to speak. The game calls it your status in the community. You can gain Renown by completing both side and main quests, as well as weekly challenges once your skills reach level 10. Renown can be used in a couple of ways, but the most important is in regards to focus. There are two shrines available in Palia, Dragon and Phoenix. Using your Renown at these shrines affect your focus in two very different ways. Spending Renown at the Dragon will increase your total focus allowance, while if you spend it at the Phoenix, it will increase the bonus percentage of the experience you gain while using focus during a skill. So if you have focus in your bar, you gain extra experience based off of how much Renown you've spent at the Phoenix. You can check your current focus bonus in your main character menu by hovering over the focus bar under your character. The Phoenix Shrine is missed by many players, which is really funny since it's the first place that you enter into the game, but you don't really go back that often, so people kind of just forget that it's there. So don't feel bad if you didn't realize that this was a location that you could spend Renown at. The most commonly known way to spend Renown is to buy writs at the town hall. This is to expand your plot size. I'd like to warn you though, not to buy too many writs, at least not right away, or additional house plots. There's a mission later in game that asks you to expand your plot size, so maybe just wait a little while before going wild with that. The next important thing to mention would be keyboard shortcuts that aren't super obvious. While they might be in the settings menu, a lot of people don't look there, and they're not mentioned in the tutorials of the game. First, you can put your tool away by pressing X so you're not running around constantly wielding an axe. Second, you can set your character to auto walk by using /, and if you'd like to auto run, just press shift with the /. Thirdly, you can bring up the emote wheel by pressing T. Then hover your mouse over the emote that you wish to use. And last but not least, you can access the camera in-game by pressing K. I personally like to run around like a little nature photographer in the game, and because it took me way too long to find where the pictures were saved in my computer, I don't want you to have to struggle too. So locate your app data folder, open up local, and you'll find a Palia folder, which will have the screenshots inside. In regards to emoting in the game, which has the same style menu as tools, has a little secret I wish I'd known earlier. You can click and drag your tools into whichever spot on the wheel you like, so that your currently most used tool will activate automatically when you press R. Or you can just put your favorite there. And you can do this with emoting. And while this might not be useful to you, my tip is to leave the center emote empty. This is because when you accidentally press T, like I do honestly way too much, it won't actually do anything. I spend way too much time running around waving or trying to bow when I'm actually trying to grab my bow in a moment of panic. Speaking of tools, you won't have to worry about basic tools ever breaking, but your upgraded tools can downgrade if you don't repair them. Repairing can be done at various repair stations marked on the map by anvil icons using craftable repair kits. But at Sifu's blacksmith shop, in particular, you can use gold or the repair kits. I personally prefer using gold over my materials to craft repair kits, but each player is different, and I do carry a few on me for when I'm in Bahari Bay, and no, I won't want to travel home anytime soon. It's also important to note, especially for new players, that you don't really need to worry about upgrading your bow. It can be the last tool that you focus on. The bow upgrade just increases the distance at which you can shoot from, and you generally won't be far away enough from creatures for this to matter, especially when you first start out. You can also use all arrow types with any level of bow. If you want to upgrade your tools, check out the guild stores, which are accessible through each designated NPC. And while we're talking about skills, fishing has a sneaky little trick you can use if you're looking for a particularly hard to find fish and you're running on limited bait. You can wait for the fish to swim away completely without reeling in, then reel in after and recast without losing that last glowworm. It's important to recast because there is no RNG when it comes to the fish biting on the same cast. It resets upon a recast. This does damage the rod if it's been upgraded though, and you can sell fish you catch, so really only use this method if totally necessary. Another skill I'll touch on is gardening, because your garden will reset every day at 6 a.m. Palia time, and I just want to make sure that you know to water them before that happens if you want them growing during the tick over. When it comes to storage, don't make more than 8 regular chests. This is the maximum space allowed. So unless you want to use specific styles for decor purposes, it's best to just make the 8 and upgrade them through Tish's furniture shop. This is where you can buy locked chests as well, which are helpful to store rare forageables so you don't accidentally cook them. Another thing of note regarding your home plot is that the trees, bushes, and rocks don't respawn. So make sure you take care in what you remove if you want them as decor. While you can plant trees later on, currently there is only one size per tree type. And just in case, there is fast travel in the game. Most people have said this was obvious to them, but you never know, and I'd hate for someone to go for more than a couple of days without the option. Stables and fast travel spots are located throughout the maps, and you can pay a small amount of gold to warp between them. You can also travel home directly from your map at any point. but this does have a 30-minute real-time cooldown. The last thing I'll mention, which seasoned players are going to know, and if you don't, you probably play solo a lot. You can share trees and mining nodes. If you and someone else both hit a resource, you will get the loot. Obviously, there are limited hits per resource node unless it's a flow tree, but don't be a butthead. Share with your friends. If there's something that you think a new player should know that I've missed, feel free to comment down below. I want to know what you wish you knew sooner, or how you want to help new players. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I hope that you have a very magical day. And don't forget to like and maybe subscribe if you feel like it.